Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something.
What's happening, guys? So anybody that's new to the channel, this is going to be a completely different video today. As you can see, I'm outside. I'm going to show you exactly how to do a very simple service on your BMW. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you my car. It's a BMW 440i. So it's got the B58 engine. So anybody who's got the B58 engine, you're going to be able to follow along, do this very simple service. I'll show you exactly step by step. I'll take you along the way. Now, it is raining outside today. As you can see, the wall's wet behind me. It's spitting a little bit. So I don't really advise you do it in the rain, because you're going to get wet if you're doing it on the floor. And also you have to be careful you don't get water in like your air filter, your oil filter and your oil when you're putting your new oil in. So without further ado, let me flip the camera around. I'll show you the car and then we'll start going through everything step by step. So this is mine. This is the BMW 440. As you can see there, I've popped the bonnet up, but I'm going to show you in a minute again. Anybody who's a beginner, you're going to be able to follow along. You're going to be able to do this exactly step by step by step. So let me just grab some tools. Let me grab what we need. I'll show you and then we'll start cracking on. Right, guys, you're back with me. So I've got a couple of things out the toolbox, got a couple of things out the shed, but I've not got everything out, like I say, because it is raining. So I'm going to get everything out bit by bit, but I will show you every single thing along the way. So I'm going to flip the camera around. First thing we want to do is pop the bonnet. And then second thing is we're actually going to get the car up in the air, going to get it off the floor, get it on the jack, get it safely, also on axle stands, because if we're getting underneath it, we don't want the car to fall on us. And what we need to do first is, especially in this particular case, what we need to do first is check that we can crack everything loose. So we want to make sure we can crack our oil filter cap loose, we can crack our oil sump, drain pan bolt loose, because you don't want to start messing if you can't get these loose, because you need to make sure. And also you want to make sure you get the fill cap loose as well for when you put your new oil in, because if you can't get that loose for whatever reason and you drain the oil, you're not going to be able to get your engine filled back with oil, which is going to be super annoying. So we need to make sure we can get everything loose first of all. Now in this case, we're actually going to use an engine flush, which is going to allow obviously a little bit extra cleaning of the engine as we drain the oil. It's going to get the old oil out better, thin it down a little bit and clean the engine out better. So in that particular case, we especially want to make sure we've got all the drains loose and we can actually get the fill cap loose as well. You don't want to have engine flush in your engine if you cannot get the oil drained and you cannot fill new oil. It will be super detrimental to the car. So first things first, let me flip the camera around and we'll do everything step by step. So first of all, let's obviously undo the car. Now, as I mentioned, I've already popped the bonnet, but I'm going to show you exactly where it is if you're unsure. So just down by the pedals here, this is your bonnet catch. Obviously you want to pull that, pull it twice, and that will pop the bonnet. Now obviously bonnet, you can just lift it straight up, and here we go. First things first, oil fill cap. So we need to make sure we can actually get this loose and get it off, which in this case we can. So that's perfect. We know we can now at least fill the oil back up. Now second thing, I'll show you where your oil filter is located. So over at the back here, it's located, you might not be able to see, it's located just down here at the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the engine cover off, which you will pull up. So just pull your engine cover up and pop it off to one side. Now you can actually see the engine a little bit better. And like I say, if we now go back over here, your oil filter's just there. You can see the top of it, you can see the big nut on the top, and obviously that's what we're going to get and make sure we can crack that loose also. Guys, so for this next part, you're going to want your 1/2" ratchet, and you're going to want a 32mm 1/2" socket in order to obviously check that you can get the oil filter cap loose. So I'm going to flick the camera around, I'm going to show you again exactly where it is, and I'm going to show you what we do. So as you can see here, these wires, they're actually clipped in there and they hinder getting down to the oil filter cap there. As you can see, they're right above it. Now this little catch here, it is clipped on at the back. As you can see, the little catch there, and it clips on just behind the wires there. So you put your finger behind, pull, and it will pop off. As you can see, it's latched on, so you can pull that back, and then these two wires will actually pop out there, which now gives a lot more flexibility in terms of getting down to the oil filter cap with your ratchet. So as you can see, if you pop your socket over the top, I don't know if you can see that, there you go, you can see now. So hopefully focus a little bit, there you go guys. So as you can see now, I've popped the ratchet over the top. The ratchet is actually set to off. Now mine has a tab there that's snapped off, so it is actually set to off. And if you put your ratchet at that angle, as you can see there, it's pointing over here, you will have enough room to pull this way and break it loose. So let me see if I can do this with one hand for you guys and get it loose. I may need to actually pause. Oh, there we go. So yeah, it shouldn't be too tight, but as you can see now, it's loose. So we know we can get the oil filter cap loose to change the oil filter. So just a very quick recap. We've made sure we can get the oil filter cap loose, and we've made sure we can get the fill cap loose. Now what we're going to do, we're not going to fully loosen it just yet, because we're going to get the car on the jack. We're going to make sure we can loosen the drain bolt from underneath the car, and then we can start to pour the engine flush in and actually do the oil change itself. Because like I say, we don't want to start messing if we can't get all these loose. So let me just pause the video here, take you over to getting the car jacked up, show you exactly how to do that. I'll be with you in a second, guys. So I've got one of the axle stands out. We've got a washing up bowl for draining our oil, and we've got the jack out. And as I said, we're on the driver's side. So let me show you where the actual jack pad is underneath the car. So we'll just move the jack out the way at the moment. Now, if I bring the camera down here with you guys, we can actually see, hopefully, you can see that this is the jack pad right here. So it's a rubber block, and you're going to want to put the jack right under the rubber block, and that's what you're going to use to jack the car up. So I'll get the car jacked up and then I'll be back with you. So another little tip as well, guys, when jacking your car up, as you can see, let me come down to eye level. I've got the jack at a 90-degree angle to the car, so you want to have it at a 90-degree angle. You don't want to kind of have it off to one side. It gives a lot of instability, and the car can potentially then fall off the jack. Obviously, if you've got it on a ramp which is going to lift the car up, like an electronic ramp, obviously you'll have your posts which will line up with your jack pads again. So let's get the car jacked up, and then we'll stabilize it on the jack stand, and like I say, we'll get underneath and we'll make sure we can loosen the drain bolt. Right guys, so I've got the car up in the air. Now let me just make one thing clear, okay? This is how I am doing it. Obviously follow along. This is the way I do it, and this is the way I'm doing it today. Please, please, please make sure when you do this, obviously you do have the car safe with the jack stands, and you have it safe with the jack. Don't do it like some crazy way. Don't obviously take this as like health and safety from me. I don't have any authority to advise you on health and safety. I'm just saying the way I'm doing it today and the way I do it. So please make sure you do have it safe for yourselves as well. We do have obviously the car. I have one jack stand here. Now I know obviously that you're going to say about, well, that's right under the plastic sill. I have that as a backup, just in case the jack ever does give way. I would rather it fall, obviously, again, that's one support point. I'd rather have it fall on the jack stand and obviously break some of the sill than it fall on me. And then I do have under the front, as you can see there, I have another jack stand, which is under one of the arms supporting the car again. Obviously you don't need to have it super high in the air, as you can see there. You just need to have it so you can comfortably obviously get under the front of the car, get to the drain bolt, which I'll show you in a second. It doesn't need to be super like up here and unstable for whatever reason. You just need to be able to get under the front comfortably and comfortably work and get to the drain bolt. So let me take you under the front of the car. I'll show you where the drain bolt is, and we'll make sure we can get that loose, and then we can actually start the service properly. So as you can see, we're going to head under the front of the car now, and I'll show you exactly where the drain bolt is. So you've got, obviously, hopefully you guys can see this here. Let me make sure you guys can. Now, if we head a little bit further back, you can see there is like a little, hopefully you guys can hear me by the way, it's like a little trap door. Now that's where the drain bolt's located for the engine oil, and you can see the little plastic pin. Obviously what you're going to do, you're going to turn that 90 degrees clockwise or anti-clockwise, and that will allow you to pull the trap door open and access the drain bolt. So now, as you can see there, that is the engine drain bolt right under the trap door. So obviously you need to get your socket and make sure that that can become loose. So let me just grab my ratchet and socket, and obviously I'll show you and I'll tell you exactly what size it is in a moment. Here we have a 17mm 3/8 socket and a 3/8 ratchet. Obviously what we're going to do, you're going to put it on the bolt and crack it loose, make sure we can actually get the bolt loose. So I've just now actually cracked it loose. Again, it's a 17mm socket 3/8 with your 3/8 ratchet. Obviously once you've cracked it loose and you know you can get it off, obviously just nip it back up a little bit so it is tight, because now what we're going to do is we're going to put the engine flush in the engine, and we're going to run the engine up to temperature, allow the engine flush to circulate, and then we can actually drop the oil out. So we will put obviously our washing up bowl under the drain bolt under the car. We'll crack it loose again, take the drain bolt all the way out, we'll let the oil drain, and I'll show you that in a second once we've actually done the engine flush step, and obviously we'll then change the oil filter, etc. So next step guys, like I say, we're going to put the engine flush now into the oil directly from the top of the engine, which I'll flip the camera around in a second and show you that. And then obviously we're going to start the car and we're going to let it run up to temperature for about 5 to 10 minutes. Here's the engine flush. I'm using Liquid Moly Engine Flush Plus. Obviously give it a little bit of a shake, doesn't need shaking massively, a little bit of a shake. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the oil cap off the top of the engine. Obviously just pop that to one side, and then we're going to pour the engine flush into the engine. So just give me 1 second guys, because I'm going to need 2 hands just to open the bottle of engine flush. Just going to pour the engine flush straight into the top, and for this we need all the engine flush for our oil. It will tell you on the back how much you need for the amount of oil in your car, so we need the full amount. So we just pour it straight in, and then we put the oil cap back on like so, and then we're just going to start the car and we're going to run the car now for 5 to 10 minutes. So once that's done, I'll be back with you guys again. Right guys, it's been 10 minutes, so switch the car off. I'm back sat on the floor again. I've got my washing up bowl there to drain the oil in. We've got our 3/8 ratchet again with our 17mm socket. We're going to head under the car, crack the drain bolt, but you've got to be careful here, because obviously remember you've just ran the car, so the oil's actually going to be hot. So when you do obviously take your drain bolt out, just be careful. Don't keep obviously your hand under the drain plug, because you're going to get oil all over and it's going to be scorching hot. It's not too bad if you obviously just get a tiny bit of oil on your fingers. It's a little bit warm, but you don't want to obviously keep your hand under the drain bolt. You want to obviously move it away as quick as possible and let the oil drop into your washing up bowl or whatever your drain pan is. So let me quickly show you. We've got our 3/8 ratchet, 17mm socket, we've got our washing up bowl. Obviously we're going to push it under the car over to where obviously the drain bolt is, and we're going to crack obviously, like I say, the drain bolt. We're going to take it out and let the oil drop into the bowl and drain it out. So I'll do that. I'll be back with you guys again in a second, and I'll show you what else we're going to do whilst it's draining. Right guys, so we've got the oil draining now. Let me show you if you can see. I don't know if you can see there actually. The oil is draining. You can just about see it there dribbling behind the cover into the bowl. Now we've obviously, here's our drain bolt. You do have a copper washer on it. Now if you with your oil filter, you should get a new copper washer. You're going to replace it with the new one when you put that back on. Now super tip, okay, you want to get yourself a can of brake cleaner when you're doing your service, because of the oil. The brake cleaner will actually soak up the oil, dissolve it, and obviously you want to get some rags as well, because you will spill a bit of oil. So what we're going to do now, we're going to remove we're going to basically remove our jack stands from under the car, and we're going to drop the car down to level again. That basically means then the engine oil can drain out properly, rather than it all being at an angle under the car. So let's just drop our jack stands down. Stick with me a second, guys. So again, drop our jack stands. Obviously the bowl is still under there, you can see it's draining. Now what we'll do is, like I say, we will drop the car and drop it nice and slowly. You don't want it to drop instantly. Bring it back down level, so the car's back to level again now. And another little tip, lift the bonnet, we go back to the oil fill cap. If we undo that and leave some air getting in there, it will also help the oil drain from the engine, in the middle of the engine, right down out into the bowl underneath. And another thing, whilst it is draining, we're going to go back to the oil filter, we're going to take the cap off, and again that's going to let air into the engine and help drain it out. So let me get that oil cap off and I'll be back with you in a second. So we're just in the middle of taking the oil filter off, like I just said to you. Now a super tip, okay, I don't know if you guys can see, I don't think you can actually, it's pretty dark there. Let me see if we can get closer. I've put a rag just down there, stuffed it down there, let me see, there we go, stuffed it down there, right below the oil filter. So when you do take this oil filter off, it prevents any oil going from down there. And as you can see, I've got a second rag, so as soon as we get the oil filter cap off, we can get it into the rag and it prevents any spillage across your engine. So that's another little tip. Anyway, let me get this off and I'll be back with you again in a second. Here we go, guys. So we've got the oil filter off. I've actually got a light now to show you properly. As you can see, there's your oil filter housing. Come on, focus camera. Sorry, guys. There's your oil filter housing, as you can hopefully see when the camera focuses. Come on, camera. There we go. And as you can see on the rag, there's a little bit of a shadow there. That's where some of the oil spill, and that's why I gave you the little tip of stuffing that rag there. But if you look all around here, there's no spillage at all. We actually got it out. And if I show you the oil filter, there's your oil filter, just a paper filter. So what we're going to do is this part will actually just pull straight out. You want to pull it out, and as you can see there's a black O-ring around the edge. That will also, you should get a new one of them in your new oil filter. So we will pull the cartridge out, we'll clean all inside, we'll take the black O-ring off and we'll put the new one on. And we'll also, in the oil filter housing in the car, we'll also get some blue paper towels and we'll clean in there as well. So let me get everything cleaned up and then I'll show you where the new filter's on. So guys, back with you, okay? We've got the new oil filter, we've got some blue paper towel. Obviously we're going to get this old one cleaned up and we can get the new one on. So as I say, get your rag ready because it is going to probably drip a little bit of oil. This just pulls out, as you can see, literally just pull it. And then obviously we do have our rubber O-ring around the edge, so obviously we're going to be replacing that with the new one, like I said. And one thing that's going to massively help is your brake cleaner. So like I say, we're literally just going to spray inside. This will help dissolve the oil. We're going to clean all this up. So if we get some of our blue paper towel, and we can now soak up all that brake cleaner, all that old oil, get it all cleaned up. Let me just get this cleaned up, guys, and get the new filter out and the new O-ring on, and then I'll be back with you in a second. Sorry guys, just went to grab another tool, which is a little pick, and this will actually help you get the O-ring out, so you can get right under the O-ring, lift it just like that, comes off dead easy. So yeah, what we'll do now is, as you can see, got a new O-ring, new copper washer for the drain plug in there. So we'll get the new O-ring out, and what we're going to do to make it a little bit easier is if you just get a little bit of the old oil from anywhere, so a little bit of the old oil, and you just run it round your new O-ring, make sure it's nice and supple then, and when you also tighten that back up, it will tighten up nice and good. And you literally pull the O-ring over and seat it back in its spot where it should be. Your new filter, so you've got two sides to this. Sorry, it will go in the side with the smallest opening because you've got the middle there which it will click over, and you should feel it like snap in place. So now what we'll do as a final little thing, we'll just spray some brake cleaner around the top, a little bit more blue roll, and we'll just clean the outside of the filter cap up, and then that's now ready to obviously go back on the car. So what we'll do, we'll set this to one side. That's now ready to go back on the car. We'll go and clean up inside the filter housing, and then we'll get the oil filter back in then. So let me go and get that cleaned up. In fact, before we do that, we'll put our new copper washer on our drain plug, then that's also done and ready, and then we don't lose that. So again, drain plug, just take the old copper washer off and pop the new, sorry guys, dropped it, put the new copper washer back on, and that's also now ready to go back on the car. All these, we'll just put the old ones in this box, and then we can easily get rid of them. Put the blue roll in, try and keep the area tidy as you're doing this, because like I say, you may spill some oil and things like that. It keeps things organised. So we'll go and clean up the filter housing inside now, and then we'll get the filter back on. So I'm going to try and show you putting the new filter on, guys. See if I can get this on from where the camera is and the lighting. So you literally just want to pop it back down. It is a little bit of a squeeze, but if you do give it a slight wriggle, you can manage to just about get it back in. So sorry if you guys can't see at the moment, but it will there, as you can see, hopefully. Come on camera, focus again. As you can see, it's now just popped back in, so a little bit of a wriggle, a little bit of a push down, nothing too major, and it will pop back on. And then what you want to do first is literally just tighten it by hand. Again, hopefully you guys can see me doing this, but yeah, just tighten it by hand as far as it will go. And then obviously we're gonna get the ratchet on it, and we're going to tighten it back up. So ratchet's back on now, exact same way as we took it off. Let me get the light again, guys, so hopefully you can see a little bit better. Exactly the same way we took it off. We literally now put the ratchet, set it to on top of your ratchet, and just tighten it back up again. Once it gets to the point of stopping, as you can see, I'm just doing it here with pretty much a couple of fingers on the end of the ratchet. Once it gets to fully being tight, we will then obviously grab it, give it a little bit of a squeeze, and then it's tightened up nice and bonny. Obviously we don't want to go over tight, we don't want to be super Armstrong on it. That's not what you want to do, but you do want it to be tight. So again, this also was the purpose of putting a little bit of oil on the new seal, so it goes on nicely. So let me get this tightened up for you guys, and then what we're going to do is we'll do the air filter, sorry, while we've got the car back on the ground and we're up top. We'll do the air filter again. We'll do the air filter. It's super easy, 2-minute job, and then we'll get the car back on the jack stands, and we can go and put the drain bolt back in, ready for the new oil. Right guys, so Sorry, just before we move on to the air filter, obviously new oil filters in now. If you've got any oil on the cap, I know you guys can't see properly there, but if you've got any oil on the cap, obviously give it a little spray with your brake cleaner, clean that up. But remember these couple of wires, let's get them back in place. So again, they just push back in each side. So bring them back over, push them in the little holders there, and this will literally push back down, click it back into place, and then they're nicely now back where they should be. But yeah, get that cleaned up if you've not cleaned it up, if you've got a bit of oil on it, which I have. So I'm going to clean it up, and then what we'll do is we'll move over here to the air filter. So just give me 1 second, guys, and you'll see me show you the air filter in a moment. Right, guys, so that's the oil filter done. As I say, we're now going to do the air filter, so let me also just show you. We've got a Mail, the brand Mail air filter. I quite like this brand. I think they're a good quality brand. So yeah, let me flip the camera around. Obviously your air filter is located in here. Very, very easy on these cars. As you can see, we've got 1 metal tab, 2 metal tabs and 3 metal tabs. So all we're going to do is we're going to flick these off. Sometimes they may be a little bit tight. That one wasn't, so you may need a little screwdriver just to flick these off if they're tight. Let's see. There we go. Literally just pull on them, and then this one at the back again, if we can get it. There we go. So just flick the tabs open like that. But let me stand you guys up where you can actually see this, and then we'll get this popped off. Oh sorry, there's one down at the back over here. I forgot about this one, guys. So there is one right at the back. This one you may need a screwdriver for. It is in an awkward place. Yeah, let me just grab a screwdriver, guys, and we'll get it popped off. It's right. So get yourselves a longer screwdriver like this. A flat blade will do. And then pop it down the back. And you literally just ping it off like that, and that clips off now. The whole box will actually lift up. Now, let me move you guys around the other side, then you can see what's going on. So if I bring you around here, as I say, this will now fully pop up. You don't need to take this fully off. Obviously, your air filter is here. And literally, hopefully, in fact, let me see if I can stand you guys up. There we go. All you want to do, lift it out. As you can see, that's your air filter. You can have a look. This one's not super dirty. Let's grab the new one, and then we'll put the new one in. So new one, exact same, compare them, exact same, guys. And then all you want to do again is literally lift the lid up, make sure it's clean, no leaves in there, nothing super dirty, and then just sit the new air filter in. It should go in. There we go. Sit it nice and in. Just push it down a little bit on each side. There is a little bit of a groove, so it will just slightly sit in that groove. And then it's literally just a matter now. All we're going to do is we're going to pop the lid back down. Lid's nicely back down. And then the metal tabs, all we're going to do, push it down, and we should be able to pull these metal tabs back on. So let's get that pushed down, as you can see, and then they just pull back on. Very, very simple. Push down, push the lid down, pull the tab back on. Same here, push the lid down, as you guys can see, hopefully show you at the same time. Make sure you can see it there, and then just pull, and it's on. And remember, we've got the one down at the back here, so I'm going to just set you guys down for a second while I pop this one back on. 2 hands with this one. There we go. You heard it snap back on, and that's as quick and easy as it is to do your air filter. So pop the metal tabs off around the edge, lift it up, pull your air filter out, put your new one in, push it down, pull the tabs back on. Very, very easy, guys. So anyway, that's the air filter done, that's the oil filter done. Obviously now what we can do is we can get the car back on the jack, get it on the jack stands. We'll get underneath, we'll make sure it's stopped draining, and then the new, the drain plug, we'll put that back on with the new copper washer, and then we'll put the little hatch back up and turn the little plastic bit to secure the hatch in place again. So I'm going to get that done. I'm not going to bore you with that because you've already seen the way to take it off, so it's just the same putting it back on. And then we'll come back when we're up to filling the oil back up. So catch you guys in a second. Right guys, final part now of the oil change is literally fill the engine back up with oil. So this is the fun part, this is where usually you end up dropping the oil. So a couple of things, make sure you've got a rag, get your brake cleaner ready with you in case you need to obviously dissolve any of the oil that you've spilt. Make sure you've got your blue rag with you also, just in case. And then literally get your rag, obviously put it on the engine around the engine oil fill cap. Put your fill cap to one side, obviously you don't want to be losing that. Get your engine oil. So we've actually gone with the Miller's oil, we've gone with 0W30, and this is the nanotechnology one. I've never tried this before. I think this might be a good oil, reading up about it, so I thought this time we'll give it a go. Now our engine's the B58. I'm pretty sure it's the same for all B58s, or this generation anyway. This is 2018. On the 4 Series, like I say at the beginning of the video, this is the 440i. Our oil capacity, I believe, is 6.5 litres. So we've got a 5 litre, a 1 litre, and a 1 litre. Obviously, we've got 7 litres in total. Now, you're never ever going to get every single drop of oil out when you do your service and you drop your oil. So even though it says 6.5 litres is the capacity, it's probably not going to take 6.5 litres to fill it back up again. It's probably going to be more like 6 litres, 6.2 litres, something like that. Now, the annoying thing is, on some of these modern engines like this one, we don't have a dipstick like the older cars where we can dip the dipstick in and obviously check the oil level. It's all measured electronically by the car. So best thing to do, I would say, which is what I'm going to do, put 6 litres in, put the 5 litres in, put the 1 litre in, so that's 6 litres in total, and then I would also then just go with that. Measure the car, because you'll do it electronically through the iDrive, so put 6 litres in, measure it, because then at least it's got 6 litres of oil in. Let the car measure it, because then you can always put some more in should you need a little bit more once it's measured it. But if I remember correctly, the last time I serviced this, I put 6 litres in it after the service, like now at the end, and it was pretty much bang on. So I'm going to do the exact same again. We're going to put 6 litres in it, and then obviously we'll run the car, we'll measure it, and we'll see where we're at then. But this is the fun part, like I say, because this is usually, if you're going to spill oil, this is where you'll end up spilling it when you're trying to fill up. Now, I do recommend a funnel. Put it obviously in the fill cap and use a funnel to funnel the new oil in. But at the moment, I've not got a funnel. All my funnels are broken, so we're going to do it by hand like this, and hopefully we don't drop any. But if we do, like I say, at least we've got our rag ready. We've got our blue roll ready, and we've got our brake cleaner ready just in case. So I'm going to pour all this 5 litres in when I can get it open, that is, guys. Obviously this is the stuff you should do off camera, Sam. Right, so it's open. This one's pretty good actually. It's got like a little spout, only like a fine spout on the end, so it should be pretty easy to get this in. And as I say, usually you'll spill it the first bit that you start pouring, because it'll start like chugging out. So this is usually the first bit that you will spill. So let's just see if we can get this without spilling it. Here we go. There we go. We've got it without spilling it. Now we've just got to get... Oh, there, we've spilt a bit already, see? This is usually the part where you'll spill oil. Luckily on ours here, around the fill cap, it has a bit of like a trough. So if you do spill a bit like I have, it will get caught in the trough, and we can mop it up in a moment when we've got this oil in. Obviously if you do like a really bad spillage for whatever reason and it goes completely everywhere, obviously stop filling and clean the oil up, and then carry on filling again. As you can see, it does start to chug. So if we can keep it going, try and keep it in. This is why it is a good idea to use a funnel. Let's see if we can get a smooth pour like this. There we go. We have spilt a little bit, but like I said, we will mop it up when we're done pouring. But yeah guys, this is exactly how to obviously service the B58 engine, and this is the 4 Series, the 440i, like I've already mentioned. But it's pretty much the same on any car, to be fair. You can follow this procedure and replicate it on any car. Obviously the only thing that's going to be different on other cars, other engines, is where your oil filter is located, where your drain plug for your oil is located under the car. Might be in a slightly different position. It might not even be hidden like this one is. And obviously your air filter, which is just here, again, that might be in a slight different location. And rather than the little silver clips on this one, which you can just easily pop off with your fingers, it may be different on another car. It may not have clips, it may like be screwed in. You might have to use a screwdriver, but it's pretty much the same procedure in terms of taking obviously the lid off, putting your new filter in. Again, the oil, draining the oil, taking the oil filter out, cleaning it all up, putting the new one in, and then refilling. It's pretty much the same procedure, so you can replicate this on other cars, other engines, but obviously today you've seen exactly how to do it on these B58 engines. So I'm going to continue to pour this 6 litres in anyway. This is just going to be boring for you guys, and I'll catch you when it's all done and dusted. Very final part guys, engine cover. Don't forget to put that back on at the end of obviously your service. Make the engine look beautiful again. But no, don't forget to put your engine cover back on. Obviously mine needs a little bit of wipe down. It is dusty. It doesn't generally get this dusty for me, but it is, so I'm going to wipe it down in a second. But hopefully you guys can follow that. I tried to make it as simple as possible. And if you like the video and you actually learned how to do it and it helped you, please like it, comment on it, tell me you liked it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel guys. If you like these car videos and you want anything more to do with cars, let me know in the comments below. Go and check out obviously the other videos to do with the property stuff. I am a property investor, property entrepreneur, so go and check them out. They're really cool. You can learn some good life stuff, some good business stuff, some good success stuff, and yeah, subscribe to the channel guys, it massively helps me out. But yeah, hopefully you guys can go and service your cars now, and obviously have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Guys, some bonus footage for you. So obviously we've just done the service. Now we need to actually reset like the service counter, the engine oil counter. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So obviously make sure that all your doors are closed, everything like that. You're sat in the car, and I'm going to flip the camera around now and show you exactly what buttons to press. So obviously at the moment the car's completely off, all your doors are shut, etc, etc. First things first, obviously you have your start button, your on button. What you need to do is just press it once. So press it once, obviously the car comes on, everything comes on. Do not put your foot on the brake for this section, by the way guys. We do not want to start the car, we just want to turn the car on. Let it obviously initialize, and as you can see now the dashboard is fully initialized, everything's done and dusted. Obviously we have the trip counter over here. What we're going to do now is we're going to press and we're going to hold the trip button. And as you can see now, it's popped up with a service menu. So what we can do now is if we press it, just single press, that's your front brake pads, that's your rear brake pads. Keep pressing it one at a time until you obviously like you see the engine oil, which is your service counter. You can scroll through the rest of the menu. Brake fluid, obviously you can keep scrolling. Vehicle check, front brake pads. You can scroll through the menu as much as you want. But we're going to obviously reset the engine oil counter today. So once you're actually on the thing that you're resetting, you're now going to press and hold the trip button on that specific item, and you'll see it says now perform reset. Again, you're going to now press and hold the trip counter to perform the reset. Keep hold of the button while it does the reset. It'll say reset in progress, and as you can see it now says reset successful, so we can let go of the trip button. That is now fully reset. That is easy, simple, and there you go guys, service done. you can now obviously turn the car off, start the car and run the car as normal.